It started with a quiet murmur of whispers. A new kid, they said. But he wasn't like the others. Caspian. The name alone was a disruption, foreign, fluid, and sharp like wind curling through an open window at midnight. It didn't belong in the sterile halls of Westbridge High. Neither did he. I was in the back of the classroom, head low, notebook open, pretending to care about whatever chapter we were on when the door creaked. Late. Of course. He strolled in like he didn't know anyone anything. Not time, not explanation, not apology. His black hoodie hung off one shoulder, exposing a tattoo I didn't quite catch, and his jeans were torn enough to raise an eyebrow, but not a detention slip. He looked around, eyes skipping over everyone like they were furniture. Then he smiled. Not the polite kind. Not a nervous kind. A real smile, lazy, crooked, like he already knew too much. Something inside me jolted. My throat dried. "Caspian, take a seat next to Jordan," Mr. Evans barked. Jordan. That was me. I glanced up just in time to catch the flicker in Caspian's eyes. Something wild. Something amused. And then he was moving, graceful, slow, like he was performing rather than walking. He slid into the desk next to mine, our arms almost touching. Too close. I shifted in my seat, staring harder at my notebook like it held the answers to whatever this was. Caspian didn't say a word, but I felt him. Every second. He leaned back in his chair like he'd claimed the space. Legs spread, foot bouncing slightly. I glanced sideways, couldn't help it, and saw the corner of his mouth twitch. He knew I was looking. Hell, he wanted me to. His fingers twirled a pen, restless and rhythmic, and I watched it spin like it was hypnotic. "Nice to meet you," he whispered, voice low, smoky. I wasn't sure if he was talking to me or if he just wanted me to hear him. I didn't respond. I couldn't. My throat was tight, my pulse too loud. That should have been it. A moment. An accident. And yet, he was exactly what I needed. I hadn't realized it until that moment, but in the midst of my quiet routine and the monotony of school life, I was searching for something, or someone, different that we talked. It wasn't a conversation, not really, but more like a collision. It was after school, and I was on my way to the library, my usual escape. But then there he was, Caspian, leaning against the brick wall of the school, sketchbook in hand, looking like he belonged to another world. I didn't want to approach him. I didn't want to interrupt his space. But my feet moved before my brain could stop them. "You sketching?" I asked, my voice unsure. He glanced up, his dark eyes locking onto mine. "You've never seen me draw before?" I shook my head. "I mean, no." He smiled, his lips curling up just enough to make his eyes seem brighter. "Well, now's your chance." I hesitated. "What is it?" "Art. Life. Whatever I feel in the moment," he replied, the tone of his voice soft, like he was speaking a secret. I took a step closer, staring at the sketchbook. His drawing was fluid, free, everything I wasn't. It was like he was saying things through his pencil that I was too scared to say aloud. I didn't know how long I stood there, caught between the intensity of his art and the growing tension between us. "Why do you always look so serious?" he asked, breaking the silence. "You're always so stiff." I didn't know how to answer, but I did. "I'm just following the rules." He raised an eyebrow. "What rules?" I didn't have a good answer for that either. Maybe I didn't even know what rules I was following anymore. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. I wasn't supposed to be sitting next to Caspian on a park bench, watching the sun set, feeling like I was breathing for the first time in years. I had been running away from everything for so long. My family's expectations, their rigid rules, the life they mapped out for me. But now, sitting next to Caspian, it felt like I was starting to see a way out. Like there was something beyond the small town I had known all my life. "You ever think about leaving?" Caspian asked, breaking the silence. "Leaving?" I echoed, my voice strained. "I don't know how." He looked at me, his eyes intense, studying me like he could read me in a way no one else could. "You could, you know. You don't have to stay stuck in this place forever." I stared at him, my heart racing. "What do you mean?" "I mean," he began, leaning in closer. You don't have to be who they want you to be. You could be yourself. I wanted to say something, anything, but the words caught in my throat. What did that even mean? Who was I really? The next time we met, it wasn't by chance. Caspian had invited me to his house. I wasn't sure why I agreed, but there was something about him that made it impossible to say no. His house was nothing like mine. It was messy, chaotic, and full of color. Paintings lined the walls, and his room looked like a sanctuary for creativity. He had music playing softly in the background, and I felt strangely at home, even though I had never been here before. "Sit down," he said, handing me a cup of tea. "I want to show you something." I took a seat on his bed, my heart pounding in my chest. What was he going to show me? He walked over to his desk, grabbed a canvas, and turned it toward me. I gasped. It was me. His painting of me. "I've been watching you," he said softly, his voice almost a whisper. "I see things in you, Jordan. Things you don't even see in yourself." I looked at the painting, feeling exposed, like he had captured the very essence of who I was, the person I had tried so hard to hide. It was beautiful, and it terrified me. I couldn't stop staring at the painting. It was me, but not the way I saw myself. In his eyes, I looked different. Stronger. More confident. Like I was finally shedding the skin I had been trapped in for so long. "You see me," I whispered, barely able to get the words out. "But I don't know who I am." Caspian's voice was steady as he sat beside me. "You're scared of who you might be," he said, his words cutting through the silence. "But you've always been this person, Jordan. You just need to trust yourself." I shook my head, the weight of his words pressing down on me. "I don't know how." "Start by being honest," he replied, his hand brushing mine. His touch was gentle, and for a moment, I allowed myself to relax into it. The world won't bend to what they want. You have to bend to what you want. His words echoed in my mind long after I left his house that night. Could I really do that? Could I really let go of all the years of expectations and be myself? I had never thought about it before. But now, with Caspian's unwavering belief in me, the possibility seemed real. The next day, I found myself at the edge of the football field, watching as the other students laughed and joked. But it all felt so distant, so foreign. I wasn't one of them, and I wasn't sure I ever had been. "Jordan," a voice called from behind me, snapping me from my thoughts. I turned to find Caspian standing there, looking as effortlessly cool as ever, his hands stuffed in his pockets. "You've been avoiding me," he said, his eyes narrowing slightly. "I haven't," I lied, looking away. He stepped closer. "You don't have to pretend with me. I see what's going on inside your head. I see how you're pushing me away." I couldn't breathe. The weight of his gaze, the way he understood me better than anyone else ever had, it was terrifying. "I'm not pushing you away," I whispered, almost ashamed of how my voice cracked. I don't know how to handle this. Handle us." He smiled, soft but knowing. "We don't have to handle anything. You don't have to be perfect for me, Jordan. Just be real." I couldn't hold it in any longer. "I'm scared," I admitted, my voice barely audible. "I'm scared of who I am, and I'm scared of what people will think if they knew." Caspian's hand found mine, and he squeezed it, grounding me. "It's okay to be scared. You're not alone in this." The days after that felt different. Lighter, even though nothing about my life had actually changed. I spent more time with Caspian, meeting him after school to sit in quiet spots around town, where we could just be. He didn't ask me to be anything I wasn't. Instead, he allowed me to take my time. One afternoon, we found ourselves by the lake, the sun setting in the distance, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink. "This is where I come when I want to think," Caspian said, sitting next to me. "It's peaceful, and you can hear yourself better here." I didn't say anything, just let the moment wash over me. And for the first time in a long time, I felt a sense of clarity. I didn't need to have it all figured out. I didn't need to change overnight. But I had to take that first step. For myself. Caspian turned to look at me, his face inches from mine. "Jordan, I want you to know something." I swallowed hard, trying to prepare myself for whatever he was going to say. "What?" He reached up to brush a strand of hair from my forehead, his fingers lingering for a moment longer than necessary. I'm not going anywhere. I'm here, no matter what happens. You don't have to face this alone. I didn't know what to say. Words felt too small for this moment, too insignificant for the way my heart was racing. So, I did the only thing I could think of. I leaned in and kissed him. It wasn't passionate. It wasn't a grand declaration. It was simple, just me, opening up in a way I never thought I could. And when I pulled back, Caspian's smile was the only answer I needed. That kiss, the one that had started everything, was more than just a moment. It was the beginning of something bigger, something I could no longer ignore. With Caspian by my side, I was no longer just a boy trapped in the expectations of others. I was Jordan, and for the first time in my life, I was okay with that. Things didn't change overnight. My family still had their ideas about who I should be, and the world still felt small and confining at times. But I had Caspian, and that was enough for now. One evening, as we sat in his room, surrounded by his art and the glow of a single lamp, he turned to me. "You've come a long way, you know?" I looked at him, not needing to ask what he meant. "I'm not there yet." He smiled, his eyes softening. "You don't have to be perfect, Jordan. You just have to be you." And for the first time in my life, I finally knew what that meant.